Oh, hi. I didn't see you standing there. You want to come in? You want to see something scary? Hey, Cinners, how you doing? You're listening to the Sinful Cuts podcast, the podcast where Sean O'Connor and Shannon Bushman-Montalbano break down some of your favorite horror films. We take a look at all the decades, the wild, weird, and wonderful world of horror, and all it has to offer. So sit back, tune in, and have some fun. Here we go.
Hey, Sinners! I'm Shannon.
And I'm Sean!
And this is Sinful Cuts!
Yeah, and we're talking about my second favorite movie of all time. Why am I holding up one finger? It's two fingers. I was just telling Shannon I was having an argument with myself because Jaws and American Werewolf are my favorite films. Jaws is always number one, but sometimes when when I'm mad at myself and in a fight with myself, I'm like, no, it's American Werewolf, and then I'm like, how dare you say that? And all my personalities argue with each other.
But that is a valid argument because this is one amazing movie that not a lot of people, I mean, who else has this amazing werewolf transformation? I cannot say that fast. Holy
I
shit.
I say we just go with werewolf. I like it. I like it a lot.
I like werewolf too.
I like werewolves.
I like werewolves.
How you feel about vampires?
I just love them so much.
All right, before we even get into it, at the start of every episode, I have to annoy you and challenge you. Okay, give me you can't include this one. Give me the top 3 werewolf movies of all time.
Okay, so I'm gonna go based on the werewolf itself, which I know is, kind of weird to say, but hear me out.
No, sure.
Because there's not a lot of werewolf movies out there that are very good and very scary. However, the ones to me
Sure.
that are memorable
Okay.
is one in the Monster Squad. That phone
Oh, I
booth
love
scene. The phone booth scene scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Probably the only other werewolf transformation scene that I really, really like, and it still doesn't hold a candle to this movie, but still very effective.
I really like
Yeah.
Jonathan Gries as the werewolf in that too, because he's also he's sad and heartbreaking as well, and
Oh
he's so
yeah.
appreciative when they finally kill him. He actually
Yes.
thanks them.
He's like, thank you.
Kind of love that.
Yes.
All right,
And
so I'll give you Monster Squad.
now this one's again a little weird, but again, hear me out. Because
You like me?
I know everyone just remembers the zombie dance, but remember the very beginning of Thriller. I'm sorry, but Michael Jackson scene, that again, when I was 5 years old watching that, I was terrified,
I'm gonna give you.
but very intrigued.
I'm gonna give you that. I'm gonna give you that, but I'm gonna put a little asterisk next to it because, and no one likes this guy, Sinners. I fully appreciate it.
Yeah,
Um,
but good scene.
that feels more like a werecat than a
I
werewolf.
I I love how you're
He's
saying werewolf very seriously now.
he's very feline. I don't know. This means feline.
Why do you have jazz hands?
You know, he's got like crazy long whiskers. But you know what? No one likes that guy. You're right. Yes, the werewolf and Thriller. Okay, that's
Yeah,
2.
I liked that design a lot.
Love. Oh, Rick Baker.
Yeah, yeah. And I would have to go. I'm trying to remember. I probably would have to go with. I really like Dog Soldiers. I
Yes.
really
Ooh,
like that one a lot.
stealing one of mine. Okay.
Yeah. And honestly, I really liked the remake of The Wolfman because
Oh,
I really liked the scene where they have him in the mental institution and all the professors are, surrounding him thinking he's just crazy and they go, "Oh no, he really is a werewolf." And I just loved that scene.
Okay, I'm gonna break your heart a little bit.
Was that 5?
You probably already know this. That was 3. You want to do 5? You want to do 5?
No.
Okay, 3. That
Yeah, no.
scene was shot by Rick Baker. Or sorry, not by Rick Baker, but Rick Baker did that whole scene practically, and then the studio came and laid CGI over it.
Mm.
And that was one of the reasons why Rick Baker was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna retire. This is horseshit.
Aw, that's
Yeah,
sad.
I mean, it's just it's like, how dare you
Well,
disrespect
yeah.
the master? You know?
Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, what the
I
fuck
mean,
is wrong with you?
it's at that moment where you got to turn into Jonathan Straker from Salem's Lot and say, "Do you dare put your faith against the master? Do you?" And then kill a kid's parents in front of them, I guess.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
guess
know.
so. Yeah,
Jesus Christ, Salem's Lot, I was fucking 9. What are you doing? And I love you for it. Anyway, okay. It's one of those nights.
It really is.
So, okay, I'm gonna quickly give you my top 3. Of course, American Werewolf is number 1. The Howling. Oh, Joe Dante, kisses all over your face. The Howling
Mm-hmm.
is it's so good. And then I think I'm gonna go Dog Soldiers, but I'm also gonna have a special place in my heart for oh my god, Curse of the Werewolf with Oliver Reed, Hammer film. Okay, American Werewolf in London, 1981, directed by John Landis. I saw this movie at the Hampton Arts Movie Theater with my parents. I had no problem watching all of the insane violence, but when the shower scene between David Norton and Jenny Agutter took place, and let's be honest, Sinners, as far as sex scenes go, it is not the longest sex scene
Mm-mm.
that's ever been filmed, but for me, with my parents, it lasted 17 years. I sweat through my clothes and through the seat, and I'm sure there was a gigantic puddle on the ground. And I just picture it's like that meme of the little monkey.
Just kind of like, what is happening? What is happening? What is happening?
I still get like sense memory chills just
Yeah.
thinking about it.
Yeah, that's always like an
Oh,
awkward moment when you're watching a movie with your parents and a sex scene comes on and you're like, I suddenly have to go to the bathroom right now.
wait, only to be outdone by me watching Michael Caine on cable in The Den, the movie The Hand, which is 65% sex, and my grandmother walks in and decides to watch with me. My Irish grandmother from County Cork comes in. And let me tell you something, my mom and dad got an earful that night. Jim, your son's watching this filth on the TV. You should take a belt and hit him until he's dead. Or something along those lines.
I'm sure it was very close.
Sinners, if you're a child listening to this, and I hope you're not, don't watch sex scenes with your grandparents. It'll fuck you up.
Yeah.
Anywho, told you it was going to be one of those nights. So,
yeah, but here we are.
all right, we're going to do the hard yards. A lot of great people involved in this film.
Mm.
So we have John Landis writes it and he directs it. Landis writes the script originally in '69. He is a PA on the Clint Eastwood film Kelly's Heroes,
Mm-hmm.
and he is filming in Yugoslavia. And he's taking a car ride with one of the Romanian workers, and they come across this burial, and they're burying the corpse feet first, really deep down, encased in like garlic, and they're doing all these rites, and they ask, hey, what's going on? And they're like, well, we're doing this so that this fucker here doesn't come back from the dead and kill us.
Yeah.
And it stuck with them, and it germinated into the script for American Werewolf in London. That's in '69 he writes this. This is a great script, by the way. It is, has what I love the most, which is it's efficient. It gets the action. We don't spend a lot of time. It lets the viewer fill in. I was going to say plot holes. That sounds detrimental. It lets the viewer fill in pieces that don't necessarily need to be illustrated all over the screen.
Because also too, like it takes place what 2 days. Honestly, like it's
Yeah.
actually very short. Like a lot happens in a very short amount of time, and yeah, you have to. Yeah, it just lets you put in very quickly how he got there in the first place, and what brought him to here, and then what brings him to the end scene,
John
basically.
Landis, John Landis says something that's, and I have it in the show, the notes right here. John Landis says something incredibly smart. He he sets up the first day with our duo, with Jack and David. That first 17 minutes of the film, we'll get into it. I have a whole section here on just the first 17 minutes of the movie because it's perfect.
Hmm.
It's literally perfect. But what he does is, all right, so we're with our duo for a rough hour, so to speak, and then we go 3 weeks ahead. So what he's done is he's got the full moon, and then we go 3 weeks ahead, and then David's in the hospital for a week,
Hmm.
which we get intercut with other things going on, and then it's the full moon again. I mean, that's what I'm talking about, the efficiency, you
Yes.
know. So I love it when you have a script like that, and it's thoughtful, it's thought out, and it makes sense. It,
Hmm.
it passes the test of like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, hey, how are we all of a sudden at the next full moon? Well, this guy's been in a coma for 3 weeks.
Yeah,
So anyway,
which makes sense.
don't want to belabor the point. I love the script.
Yes,
So
same.
couple of other things I want to point out. So we got Robert Painter is the cinematographer. Now the cinematography is good in this movie. Painter would go on to do almost all of Landis's films, Spies Like Us, Into the Night. So they worked very well together, and he's good.
Mhm.
But what I really appreciate is how well he, as the one setting up the shots and envisioning what it's going to look like, works so incredibly well with Landis and with Rick Baker.
Yes.
Because specifically the transformation scene in the apartment, you've
Mhm.
got an enclosed space, you've got a lot of tight close ups, but you also want to give it some scale, so you're pulling out. It's a lot of cheats. It's shot in a well lit apartment. They're
Yeah.
not using shadow.
No,
You know,
and Landis knew he always wanted that. He's like, "No, I wanna see the whole transformation, and I wanna see it from head to toe." He's like, "That's so fucking." He's like, "I knew it was gonna be a makeup artist's fucking nightmare." But
it,
luckily, he sat on it for about a decade
yeah.
and always told Rick Baker about it, and he's like, the fact that he sat on it, he's like, "It actually gave me time to think about it and
Well, it's
how
like
we're gonna execute it."
yeah, the technology caught up with what was on the script at this magical moment in '81 where practical effects were just firing on all
Mhm,
cylinders. Look at what's going on in '81. So we've got and the funny thing is you've got this revolving door between Rob Bottin and Rick Baker with
mhm.
werewolf movies. Rick Baker's on The Howling, has to drop out, takes American Werewolf in London. Bottin is on American Werewolf in London, and then Rick Baker, who couldn't originally do the job, then says he can. John Landis is like, Rob Bottin, kisses on your face. We're gonna go with Rick. He's my guy. Rob Bottin takes The Howling. It's an embarrassment of riches. Who wins? We win.
Yeah, we all win.
Two completely different werewolf designs for the most part. It was funny because Landis fought with Rick Baker tooth and nail. He wanted werewolf on all fours. Rick Baker, of course, who started the design on the werewolves from The Howling, and it's bipedal, a biped.
Mhm.
He wants the werewolf like the Wolfman,
He wants the
and he
Wolfman,
wants
yeah.
he wants it on 2 feet. Uh, Landis wins, and thank God for that because the Kessler Wolf, which is what I'll be calling it, Cinners, because that's what it is. It's known as the Kessler Wolf,
Mhm.
is the best werewolf design that was, and ever will be
Mhm.
until the next one. But at the moment, the Kessler Wolf is the most terrifying and perfect werewolf on film.
I agree. I would not
Yeah,
wanna
I
come
mean,
across it.
look, will you and I go to the middle of the street again? Street Fighter style? Street Fighter? Chef, 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 chef? Werewolf? Vampire werewolf? Will we,
Aruken.
will we go back to back and choose your fighter? We will. hands down the best. And again, Sinners, there's always room for the next one, and we eagerly await it. But the werewolf, the Kessler Wolf, is the best werewolf. Lots of good ones. That's the best.
Mm.
So we have, come on, we got Elmer Bernstein doing the music. The score is incredible. We've got Landis having some fun, and all the songs contain the moon, the word the moon in them. So we have that theme running throughout. I like it. How about how this film starts? They're in the back of a sheep truck and blue moon, and seeing this for the first time, you're like, what's going on?
Yeah, you're like, what is happening? Did they forget a song or something? Yeah.
Landis, but Landis immediately sets it up that he's like, you think you know what you're seeing. You don't know what you're seeing. This is going to be something new. This was, I've racked my brain on this one, Shannon. Really, there are definitely going to be instances from the past that probably come close. But this movie, for me, and I'll stand behind it, seems like the first truly successful horror comedy. The hybrid.
Okay. I think you might be right there, actually, because before that, we've either had, well, I know when we did our Dracula episode, we were talking to Eric Hansen from Cradle to the Grave. We mentioned, yay! When are you coming back on, Eric? I don't know.
He won't. He said he won't come back on until we get chronology correct. We're working on it, Eric. I told him. He's like, "Have me back tomorrow."
I was just like, shit, that might not happen.
Yeah, I mean, Eric, if you were ever waiting on that would never happen.
Yeah, sorry. But no, so I know we mentioned on that episode the Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein, and because he brought up a really good point of why it worked so well. Like, because obviously Abbott and Costello are absolutely hilarious. And the comedy was there. However, the monsters were straight. They were genuinely their their terrifying selves, and they were genuinely trying to kill Abbott and Costello. And that granted, it's that was like what, the 40s, like 40s, maybe even earlier. It's like 30, either way, 30s or 40s.
No, let's say 41-ish.
Okay, but fast forward obviously quite a bit to 1981. I think you might be right, because anything before that, I think, is either just like a true horror or a true comedy, and this is a little bit of both, which confuses a lot of people. Because it always had that rep, like, like, oh, it's not horror enough to be a comedy, but it's not funny enough to be a full comedy because of the horror elements in it. I might have said that actually backwards, but you know what I mean.
Think about what this movie does, because it's very successful. Let me see. Shot for 5.8, makes 62 million. So bona fide hit. And I can tell you for a fact, I mean, in the summer of it came out in August of 81, and it's all anybody was talking about. You got to go see this movie. It's incredible. Everybody raced to the theater. This 81, this really does pave the way for movies like, and a lot of movies that we've done. The Lost Boys. You got your horror elements, your comedy elements. Fright Night, horror, comedy. Even The Blob. 88's The Blob. There's a lot of comedic moments in The Blob.
Yeah, for sure.
So this opens the door to a lot of creativity of, you know what? Hey, we love a horror movie that leans completely into the nihilistic and the dread. Give me that by the coffinful. But when you can have a horror comedy and you're eliciting so many ranges of emotion, from laughs to scares, oh boy, I mean,
and some people deal with laughter as a way of dealing with trauma,
True.
so like it's possible David was just one of those people, like, clearly, like, flirting with the nurse, and seeing his dead friend and just kind of like, what the fuck is happening, his dreams. We have to get into that in a second.
The comedic elements in the movie are just handled so matter-of-factly. Like,
Mhm.
Jack shows up in the hospital room, and David is, like, not climbing up the walls. He's just like, "What are you doing here? You're dead." Like,
He's like, "You're not here. You can't be here."
it's just so good. It's so good on so many fronts. But okay, let me finish the hard yards. Damn it! I keep
Oh.
interrupting myself. Okay.
I thought I was
So
gonna say, I thought you were yelling at me.
I know. Well, how dare I yell at me? So we have Rick Baker doing the special effects. Wins the category for best makeup is created the next year, and Rick Baker wins. The actors, we've got David Naughton as David, we've got Griffin Dunn as Jack, we've got Jenny Agutter as Alex, John Woodvine as Dr. Hirsch, and then shout out to Brian Brian Glover he's only named the chess player in the film, but when he screams out, "That's enough!" I was like, okay.
Like, okay.
I wasn't doing anything. Leave me alone. And when he tells the joke, "And the plane's still too heavy." I mean, Brian Glover. Sorry, Brian Glover.
There you
are
go.
gem. All right, Cinners. You've seen this movie a bajillion times, but we are gonna. We have to go through it. We got to go through it beat by beat. You can't not do it for a movie like American Werewolf in London. So, Shannon, here we go. The first 17 minutes.
Mhm.
The perfect film.
Yes.
If you were to carve out from when they get off the truck to when David is attacked and looks over and sees the corpse of the werewolf that is now a man, and then it fades to black, if that were a short film, it would be the most perfect short film that had ever been filmed. Ever.
Yeah, it could have ended there.
It tells a complete story with character development and an arc and a tragic conclusion, and all the elements are there in the first 17 minutes, and that's only the first 17 minutes of this film.
Yeah, even including what the locals at the Slaughtered Lamb, including what they don't say, right?
Oh, okay.
Like, just their demeanor alone, besides obviously the bartender, she's like, "You can't let them go out there." That's really the only hint you get, but yeah.
We have to address this, and then we'll go back to talking about the 17 minutes. Where is the film about the first werewolf? Why did they make American Werewolf in Paris? We're not going to talk about that film, everybody. You're welcome. Woo! Crackers. Why didn't they make a prequel? There's already a fucking werewolf in that town. They all know about it. They've been living with a werewolf, which seems like 4 ages.
Yeah.
It's not just like Dan turned into a werewolf last month. Don't stay the road. They're just like, we've been living with this terror for so long that on the full moon, we all collectively come to the pub and we stay here until morning. Yeah. Like, this is what is happening in this film.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's normal.
Yeah.
Right?
I am so obsessed with this East Proctor. I'm so obsessed with East Proctor because it's even the young man who talks to Dr. Hirsch when they go behind the pub, when Dr. Hirsch goes to the town and he's like, "Hey, just trying to find out what happened to the boys," kind of weird, right? And he's behind the pub talking to him, and the first thing, or one of the first things that the young man says, the dart player says, is, "There's something wrong with this town." Now, Shannon, this is already after the werewolf's been killed. Like, what is going on in East Proctor? I've got to know! Where is Brian Fuller doing a fucking 6-episode limited series on East Proctor? Brian, help me out, man. I mean... Right.
Especially when there's like no wolves in Europe, I think. And there hasn't been for like hundreds of years, I'm pretty sure.
It is such fertile ground for an incredible movie, an incredible screenplay.
Mm.
It's just right there. Go back to East Proctor. Either give me a prequel or give me what happens after the werewolf's been killed, because that young man says there's something wrong in this town. He doesn't say there was something wrong in this town.
Yeah.
There's something still going on. Now,
Yeah.
look, Sinners, I get it. It could just be the words written on the page. I tend to get obsessed about things, and I like to think that there's a lot more there than what is probably there. And now I'm fine with living my life that way. It's fun. It's it, it's a little crazy,
lot,
but
lot
it's
of
fun.
lot of sleepless nights, but that's okay. It's okay.
But just just the fact that you have a town that has to shelter in place when the full moon is out is just like my birthday and Christmas and all the holidays wrapped in ice cream. You know, I mean, it's just
With
like,
sprinkles
okay,
and fudge on top.
okay. So anyway, I'm putting it out there into the universe. Somebody with skill, just have a crack at it, please. You
Yeah.
know, I shouldn't. You know what? Oh well, I was going to say I shouldn't have said a word, and you and I can do it. But I did say I wanted somebody with skill. So I'm just talking about myself, not you. Just talking about myself. I'll see myself out. Okay, back to the first 17 minutes. So we have a couple of okay. So we've already talked about the boys get off the truck. There's the two actors that hung out. They didn't know each other, but they were young and they're two good looking guys and they're having fun in England.
Yeah.
And that
Backpacking.
banter, it's just so naturalistic. And they're a lot of what they're saying is they're walking, into East Proctor is improvised, but it just feels real. Like they're very, very good at what they're doing. The interplay when you're in the pub between Jack asking David, kind of in an annoying way, what's on the wall? Ask him about the star. Feels so real that, when you're with your bestie and, you can annoy them to no end and they'll put up with it and vice
Oh yeah.
versa.
Oh yeah.
Just, again, I hate Sinners. Just please humor me because I'm going to say it a lot. It's just such good. It's such good directing, and it's such a good script. It's
Yeah.
so
It was so natural, like it's just like you've totally been there in that type of situation where you walk into a, you would just want to go out. You walk into a pub, maybe you realize right away you guys aren't the favorite of the bunch, but you sit down and you have a pint,
every
and
bar I've ever walked into.
ah. But yeah, just and then you start having a bit of a banter. You're like, well, we're here now. Let's just make the best of it, and yeah, so you start poking fun at each other.
I have to point out though, the whole scene between when they sit down and there's the whole interaction with the barmaid about we don't have this, we don't have that, I'll make you tea, and they're like two little kids, like, yes, please, and thank you, ma'am, and they're so innocent and naive.
Yeah,
And they really are. I mean, I hate to say it, but they really are lambs to the slaughter.
yeah.
Everyone in that pub knows what's outside the door. Everyone. And they hold their fate in their hands. Now they make the wrong choice. They really do sacrifice the two travelers. Oh, by the way, just a quick aside. A couple of weeks back, I'm at a Passover Seder. I believe it's called the Passover Seder.
Okay.
And we're going around the table and they're doing the Passover reading. And it gets to the part where they're painting the doorways of the Israelites with the lamb's blood, and it specifically says the slaughtered lamb. And I'm listening. I'm very appreciative to be there. My dear friend Adam invites us every year, and I love it. I'm not a religious man myself, but I do love the communal feeling
Yeah.
of it. So it was very, very special. Love you, Adam. But when we got to this part and they said the slaughtered lamb, I was like, what the. And when we were done with the reading, I actually circled back and I'm like, could you let me know, as someone who's not, doesn't know the history of the scripture, what does that mean? And they told me they would paint the doorway with the blood of the lamb so that God would see it and pass them.
Mm-hmm.
And to sinners who are Jewish, forgive me, former Catholic, I know nothing even about my previous faith, nothing at all. So anyway, that's why the pub is called the Slaughtered Lamb, because this is
Yeah.
a safe haven for them. And
We
I was like,
we
he
have one in the
dropped.
city as well. I've been
Not
there.
anymore.
Oh, they got rid of it. The one it had a rotating statue too
It
of
was fantastic.
I
On 4th
know.
Street in New York City, the
Yeah.
Slaughterland on West 4th.
Yeah.
It was,
The giant
it,
fireplace and everything. It was really cool.
I'll tell you a quick funny story about this. This is going all the way back to 1993. I go in there and I was at NYU at the time. Just like David Kessler, by the way.
Oh.
Well, we- well the similarities never cease. We used to go to Slaughtered Lamb all the time. Great pub. I mean, just fantastic. They had Boddingtons on tap. If you Cinners, if you know, you know. I wanted to have a Halloween party. I go up. I'm like, hey, I'd like to rent your place out for Halloween. How much do you think it would be? $4,000. I'll see myself out. Thank you. Cinners, I still don't have $4,000, and that was in '93. So anyway, I'm all over the map. But okay, let's get back to the pub. So I wanted to point out and I wanted to give accolades to the editing of this scene, because you set the scene with the two young men, and they're in an element that's completely foreign to them. But then everyone kind of lets their guard down, and Brian Glover tells the joke, but you have that editing, the intercutting between what Jack is asking David to do, which we know is don't do it, and David knows shut up, and you have that dialogue of like, no, ask him, like rib, and they have Brian Glover telling the joke, and it just builds and builds and builds and builds and builds, and then there's the punchline, and then there's Jack goes, what's that star for on the wall, and then it's just like, it's so
Crashing down.
masterfully done. It's so masterfully done.
Oh,
Here's
it's like awkward.
my only problem with a perfect 17 minutes is that no one could have said, "Oh, it was on the wall when we bought the bar." Like no one could lie.
They say it afterwards to the doctor, but that's
Yeah, they
about
say to
it.
the doctor, but immediately they're like, looks like we're going to have to kill these two American boys. And that's exactly what they do.
It's pretty much what they do. Yeah.
Okay.
They sealed their fate.
So our two fellas, our two fine young lads, they feck off, and they're following the road, and they're given, beware the moon and stay the road, beware the moors. And upon this watch, I noticed that it is David who leads them off the path, and Jack follows him because they're in the middle of goofing around and talking, but it is David who strays and goes, so David essentially kills Jack. He really does. I mean, look, there's an argument to be made that they were both doomed anyway once they left the slaughtered lamb, but it truly is David who kills Jack.
Ugh, it's so heartbreaking.
But again, they're joking around, the stay the road, stick to the moors. They look down. Oops. It's so, if you've ever been 22 or, it rings so true that you're just like, yeah, we're in mortal danger, but we don't know it. And we're still grab-assing and joking around. And it's so incredibly well done. And then, I mean, we are having fun, and even when we're not having fun, and then they're being circled, and they're running, and then David falls, and then Jack, even that lighthearted moment of like, you asshole, I really thought you were hurt, and then he gets attacked. Like, even up until that moment, you're like, are we still having fun? As a viewer, you're like, wait, are we having fun? We're not having fun? What is happening? That kind of manipulation is intoxicating to me. I love it.
Yeah, it gets very real very quickly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfectly said.
Yeah.
Perfectly said.
And David, obviously the fear immediately, like, I mean, they're, once they hear it, they, like which is, I loved that scene where like you could just kind of hear it growling, and they're like, what the fuck is that? But the camera focuses just on them.
Yeah.
I just thought that was really brilliant. Until you see the initial attack. And then David just fucking runs off in fear, like, and then goes back for his buddy.
Very human response, fight or flight. He takes off, but he's a good friend because he goes back.
Yes.
Shannon, you just said something that actually is brilliant, and
I did.
You said you did. You know what? You have a habit of doing this every episode, by the way.
Because sound like you said, like, oh my god, it's genius. I'm like, what did I say?
I have a habit of blathering, and you have a habit of saying very succinct, smart things. So, you said that things get real very quickly, and that happens 3 times in this movie,
Mm.
and they're all like the most perfect beats. There's Jack getting attacked. There's
Hmm.
David turning into the werewolf. It happens like that. Like
Yeah.
if people were to turn into werewolves, it's not it's not like how it had been portrayed previously, where it's like a big dramatic, oh, it's happening to me, and oh,
Yeah.
it is just you're reading a book, and then you're tearing your shirt off, saying, "I'm burning up, help me," and then you turn into a werewolf.
Yeah.
And there's the ending where David is just shot. There's
Yeah.
his naked body riddled with bullets. Cut to bomb, 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 dang, dang,
Bang,
dang.
bang, dang, dang, dang.
Things get real
Yeah.
uh, in an instant.
I like his fever dreams. Like it's very
Oh,
like it's very like Jacob's Ladder for like a hot second. Like
all
what
right.
the fuck is happening? Those are probably some of my favorite scenes.
Well, let's get into it because oh, wait, I just want to take a. Oh no, we're not up to it yet. Okay, good, 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 good. Okay, um, okay. So David's in the hospital. He's been in a coma for 3 weeks. He's got a horrific scar on his chest. He's got a scar on his face.
Mhm.
Okay, we now established through some witty banter with the nurses that David is Jewish. Why do I bring this up? I think this
Mhm.
is a very important. Well, I don't think I've read about it. I've researched it.
Yeah,
It is a
yeah.
very important aspect to the film. David's otherness as a Jewish man in a foreign land, and his otherness now as a monster, unbeknownst to himself at this point, but he
Yes.
he is.
Mhm.
Um, and the fact that okay, so let's start diving into the fever dreams.
Yes.
But is it okay with you if we do them in turn? So we have the first one. He's running naked through the woods. He
Right.
sees himself in the hospital bed. Jenny Agutter comes up, which is beautifully shot, by the way.
Oh,
Beautifully shot.
gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
And then you get that quintessential moment, and really besides Jack getting attacked, our second insane jump scare
Yeah.
of him bluish white with those
Those
contacts.
eyes. Oh, and those that mouth. Oh, it's still terrifying too when you watch it. Like
Everyone in the theater ended up a row back. Everyone jumped out of their seats. I
I
mean,
probably would have been on the ceiling like a cat.
like a cat.
Like
I mean, it was just so perfectly done. So we have that first fever dream. The second one is the one I really want to unpack. So
mm,
we have David is dreaming that he's at home with his family. Very lovely suburban setting.
a
Very.
place where he's safe.
Thank
Normally
you.
a safe place with family, your own home. Yeah.
Yeah, doing his homework at the kitchen table. What
Yeah.
is more? What's safer and more suburban and Americana than that?
Yeah.
And there's the knock at the door, and then in comes Nazi werewolf demons, and they slaughter the family and they burn the house to the ground. And I really this dream for me has so many different meanings. Okay, so first and foremost, you have we're not that when Landis writes it, it's 20 years after World War II. I mean, talk about like the scars haven't even remotely begun to heal from the Holocaust. So we have the notion of for Jewish people,
Mhm.
there is no safe space. Like
No.
you're constantly fearful of the knock on the door
Yeah, and
because
he grew up hearing these stories. You figure, you know.
yeah, this is no bullshit
So
fairy tale. Like
it's
this,
it's possible he's probably had this dream before. Maybe they weren't werewolf demons. Maybe they were actual, Nazi soldiers.
but
It's possible it's a recurring dream, but now it's obviously now he's in the middle of what's the word I'm looking for? He's in the middle of a metamorphosis.
yeah, yes.
Yeah. So now it's blending.
Okay, so how about this? And you let me know if this is just bullshit, hypothesizing or what. But got you got David's dream. To your point, you've got a Jewish family that no longer feels safe in what should be a safe haven. You're always fearful of that knock on
Hmm.
the door kicked in, and your family is brutally murdered, and your house is burnt to the ground. It's a very real thing that happened, and
Unfortunately. Hmm.
the trauma lives on. Exactly. But I'll go one step further because David is now a werewolf, and he's having this fever dream. David, it's twofold. David is also now the horror in the home. He is the horror in the home.
Oh yeah.
And I think this is his immediate reaction to when he realizes that he truly is a werewolf is immediately, I have to kill myself,
Yeah.
because he refuses to become the knock at the door. And
Yeah.
he knows, I can't go home to my family. I will literally eat them. I now, like the Nazi werewolf demons, I am now the monster as well. And the worst part about it is, they're not going to be fearful of me knocking at the door. They're going to welcome me in, and I'm going to devour them.
Right.
So, sinners,
And
feel free to, hit me up on social or email us and be like, you are full of shit. I
no,
welcome.
he immediately calls them he figures like going home is not an option now. Like
It
at
just
all.
it just makes this movie, which on the surface is a playful horror comedy werewolf movie, it makes this movie resonate deeper for me the more I watch it, and
Yeah.
the more I dig in, and I just start to uncover decade after decade more layers to it. A lot more
Yeah.
than when I was a kid watching it, which I love.
You genuinely resonate with David just because I mean we might have already said it, but just David feels he just feels like a real person. Like he like
Very
he
much so.
he definitely represents somebody that, and I don't say represents, but he definitely reminds me of somebody like I used to know. Just kind of like happy go lucky, just like kind of go with the flow. I mean, really go with the flow if you go home with your nurse after 3 weeks, whatever. Anyway, uh, that was a choice, but I'm sure that's happened before. Maybe not
I mean,
often.
I got my tonsils out. All I got was ice cream. No one took me home. Just saying.
Just
Thanks a
saying.
lot, Stony Brook.
Yeah.
You know, totally. Sinners right now are like, were you 9? What's
Yeah.
wrong with you? I will say though that uh the the transition of David in the hospital to going home with her also felt earned and real. I guess I shouldn't say earned. It just felt natural. you
Yes.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Landis doesn't really dine out on it, but he certainly takes enough time to establish a flirtation and a spark there, so that when she does take him back to the apartment, you're not like, "Come on!"
Yeah.
And look, it's two good-looking young people. I get it. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
All right. So now we have. Let's go to the transformation
I
because
was
we
just about
really
to
are.
say.
We're.
I
I'm going to let you.
had to
Hey,
go to the
look.
transformation.
I've been blathering enough. It's all yours.
No, it's fine. We could share it. But yeah, so we said it in the beginning that Landis already he's just like, yeah, he's like, I knew I wanted to be a makeup artist's worst nightmare. I want it in bright light. I don't want any cutaways. I don't want and yeah, I know actually what once Rick Baker had time to sit and think about it and started developing ways that they could pull this off, he actually tried doing it in one take. Like he tried suggesting that, and Landis was like, "No, you're crazy."
I mean,
I thought I was crazy, but no, you're crazy.
I don't
Um,
even know how, unless they actually knew someone who could turn into a werewolf. I have no idea how you would do that, but that's Rick
no,
Baker for you.
but so he finally figures out, and forgive me because I'll admit I forgot the name of the material. Like I don't remember if it was polymer or something like that. But the material he was able to get that was able to stretch out,
Stretch.
that they would put over these mechanisms that they would just take a little control whatever, and it would stretch it out. So they would make obviously they made a foot stretched out, the hand stretched out, the snout,
Yeah.
all of that. Um,
Hands.
so yeah, it's actually kind of comical listening to to Rick Baker. He's just like the work that I put into it, and then when Landis calls action. He's like, it took 10 fucking seconds. Just grows, lead, just like, cut, perfect. He's
Yeah,
like, 10 seconds. He's like, do you know how long it took me to fucking do that?
Rick
And Lynn
Baker's
is
like,
like,
I
it's
thought
fine,
it took
it's
her
fine, it's
an hour.
fine. But apparently that's all it took, because and it wasn't something they could do like over and over again, because this material would kind of like become goop after not too long,
And
honestly.
I suppose like the heat of the lights,
Could
all
be,
that
yeah. The
is huge.
Stark
But
light that Landis wanted. Yeah, probably.
oh my gosh, wait,
So, yeah.
we skipped something. I got to go back real quick.
Mhm.
The okay, so the dream, the Nazi werewolf dream, and is this, to my knowledge, this is the first instance of the double nightmare. David has the nightmare. His family's
Ah,
slaughtered. His throat
we
is
just
slit. He wakes up. Jenny Algerter pulls the curtain. She gets stabbed by the Nazi werewolf, and
yeah.
everybody shit their pants off in the
I
movie.
did.
Copied endlessly since '81. I swear to you, that's
Yeah.
the first
I
instance of
I
the
think
double
that
nightmare.
I yeah. American Werewolf did it first.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Is American Werewolf? This isn't a dream sequence, but when Jack visits the apartment the night before the transformation, David gets up to have a pee, and he closes the mirror, and there's Jack. Is that the
And
first instance of the mirror scare?
ooh, it
Also
might
used
be.
endlessly since then, endlessly.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
it might be.
the mirror scare and the refrigerator door close and the hallway shot of, like, what I'm talking about, where you see it and then they look and then they look back.
I'll put
Those,
I'll put the challenge out there. I right now I definitely can't think of one. Sinners, if you know of another movie before
let us know.
1981, let us know, because I'm racking through, because you know I love my old movies,
Oh, I know you do.
and
I know you do.
I can't think of one right now.
I'm confident that we can say the double nightmare, American Werewolf, 100%. The
100%.
mirror, maybe there's some obscure, that does it, and it may not even be doing it in a horror setting. It may be doing it in a drama or a
Yeah.
romantic comedy where someone closes the mirror and there's a character there. But it works so well for horror. I mean, it works so well that it's actually been done to death. And if a character goes into a bathroom and the mirror's ajar, you automatically. I mean, it's been done to death so much that now directors are using it as a fake out, because the character closes the mirror, nothing's there, and then they turn around and nothing's there. Then they go outside. Like, the audience is caught on, and we're like, here it comes. Oh, that's not it. Here it comes.
I
Kind of love
think
that.
it's not a mirror sequence, but I just have to bring this up real fast, because I make fun of this scene so much. But in Shaun of the Dead, when he's looking through the mail hole and he's like, "No, I don't see any." Oh wait, no, there they are, and the camera like shifts like this, and you just see a horde of zombies. He's like, "Oh wait, no, there they are." So that it's not a mirror sequence, but it's kind of close, and I loved that.
I mean, come
Little
on, Edgar
sidetrack,
Wright.
I know, but I just had to bring that up.
Edgar Wright, make a werewolf movie. Come on, what the fuck are you doing? So I'm sorry. I just wanted to. I didn't want to forget about that. So let's go back
Mhm.
to the transformation.
Yes. So that is, yeah. But that's pretty much it. So obviously, Rick Baker, as you mentioned before, wins the Academy Award for Best Makeup, and this I want to say that was created literally for him, because that's how good this sequence was after they saw this movie. Like, I don't think there was a makeup design section for an Academy Award.
No, no, this it was.
I
I don't.
believe they created it for Rick Baker, because they were like, he deserves something.
A lot of people are upset that the Elephant Man didn't win. Hey, look, I get it. I get it. That's
I get
incredible.
it too. Yeah, I get it
Hey,
too.
come on, come
But
on.
this was, so the Elephant Man was really good makeup. This was revolutionary
He transformed a man into a fucking werewolf.
from head
How
to toe.
how about the sound design of the pop 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 pop, pop along with
Of
the
his
spine
spine. Yeah. Yeah, like you genuinely saw his bones breaking and reforming again.
and
And
the
that
paint? I mean,
has never been done.
David Naughton does a great job in selling the agony of turning into a werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's a little controversy for myself. I went through a decade or so of, do I like David Naughton as David? I don't think I do. I think I would have liked to see Jack and David switch roles, and I went through that on and off. And I'm like, I'd also like to see blah 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 in this part, and then I realized it's hot garbage. This is perfect the way it is. David Naughton does an incredible job. He's very charismatic. He's
Yeah.
goofy. He's endearing. He is what you want in a 21-year-old NYU student who just graduated and is
Yeah.
backpacking through Europe. You
Yeah.
know, I think that Griffin Dunn, I want to give massive kudos to Griffin Dunn. I want to give him all the credit in the world. I think he's used so well. I think Griffin Dunn is more dynamic and has more personality, and that's why I think he makes great Jack. Because Jack is that guy who, he's the cut up at the bar. Not to say that David is a wallflower, he's not by any means, but Jack is like that one, he is the guy like, oh, Jack's here. Oh, things are going to get silly.
Yeah.
So Landis did a
Like
great,
both of these guys could have existed in Animal House.
totally.
If Sinners, if you don't know, is another movie that Landis was known for before he was able to make this, right? Because that was
No,
1978.
you're spot on. The Blues Brothers and Animal House are the two movies that gave him license to make this because they were hits.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But these characters could have came from any one of these elements, and it's like he just took like two characters from his movies that got him famous enough to make this film. To your point, and he just decided to throw them in this movie instead, and it just works.
Yeah, he really. I mean, he's got an eye for natural talent, and he knew exactly what he wanted, and he got it. He absolutely got it. Okay, so now let's go to our kills. Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
So we really only have one night of kills. We have one night of David's rampage. We start off with the cute couple going to dinner, and they're going to sneak around and scare their friend, and then they get horrifically slaughtered.
Yeah, and I was like, oh boy, are they wrong?
Oh, don't do that.
Ugh.
Then we go to then we have the gentleman in the junkyard, which, by the way, that scene was cut tremendously.
It looked like it was.
He filmed the scene where the Kessler Wolf slaughters all three of them, and you see it, and it ended up on the cutting room floor because test screening the audience for some reason with the amount of slaughter that's in this movie. That particular slaughter of the older gentleman really bothered audiences. Landis regrets it to this day. He's like, I don't know why I did that. Yeah, he made a couple of cuts. He had a longer sex scene. He's like, I don't know why I cut that. He had the three guys getting killed. Anyway, choices made.
Yeah.
Then you have the young man in the tube station, which is really the iconic kill when you're talking about American Werewolf in London. This is my.
It's when you get to see him.
Exactly.
And exactly the size, the scale size.
Which
with a beautiful overhead shot, by the way. I know I'm jumping ahead, but
No, please. You're 100% right. It is my favorite kill in the movie. Not my favorite scene. We'll get to that. We'll do favorite kill, favorite scene. But this, spoiler alert, this is my favorite kill because you do see the scale. And I freeze frame that scene. I can't help myself every time. Just when it starts to paw out and you get the scope of it. It's like when you see the size of the shark in Jaws. When Quentin and Hooper are like 20 feet. No, it's 25. And you're like, this is a big thing and it's going to kill us. This is too big. Yeah. And you see the Kessler Wolf and you're like,
it's too big.
It's too big.
It's too big.
It's muy grande, And you're like, things are going horrible for everyone involved.
Seriously.
So sure enough, that gentleman, he meets a grisly fate, and then it goes straight to comedy. He
Straight to
wakes up in
comedy.
the
Wakes
zoo,
up in the zoo.
a
Well,
naked
obviously with
American
no
man stole my
clothes on,
balloons.
and and he wakes up next to a wolf. He's like, nice doggy. He wakes up in the wolf's den, and they're just like, oh yeah, look, it's cousin David. Yeah, whatever.
Again,
Um,
this
eh, he got out of there very quickly too. Did you see
wouldn't you?
that?
Wouldn't you? If a wolf was nipping at your hiney, no, sorry, your nude hiney, you would be getting out of there too. Okay, I just want to bring us back to what you said previously about horror comedy and Abbott and Costello, because you're completely right. But those are slapstick. Those movies are very much slapstick.
Oh well,
You know,
yeah. A
um,
different time for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
you
I'm
know,
not trying to compare the two, but
there's
the difference with the comedy and the threat.
there's nothing about the comedy in this movie that goes over the top.
Mm.
There's a lot of funny stuff in this movie. It's very naturalistic and it's like real life. Like this is a funny situation. He said a funny thing. Like it just like
Yeah.
nothing is like waka waka waka, you know? So
But come on, the run scene where he grabs her coat really
it's
fast.
so great. The best is when he's at the bus stop and the guy's looking at him in the coat and turns to him and he goes, a lot of weather we've been having lately.
You're like, what?
It's so great. Oh, it's so great. David Naughton kisses all over your hairy werewolf face. So,
Oh my god.
Shannon, you know what I love? You know what I love? You know I love efficiency. You know I love it when it's just like not at the detriment to the story, but let's get moving, people. Let's keep it going.
Mhm.
And this movie, from the triple kill we get to David waking up in the zoo, and
And not knowing a goddamn thing.
not knowing a thing, and then he goes back and he's talking to Jenny Auguder, Alex, and he's like, I feel great. I don't know what's happening. I'm kind of going crazy, but I love you. And this is, and like the transformation you could tell is affecting his human half. Like he is feeling great,
Yeah.
which of course is used in every werewolf movie, and rightfully so,
Yeah.
but like they're all, I kind of want to get bit by a werewolf and feel that for a little bit. Real good.
Yeah. Well, Landis, I think, considered it at this point. It's kind of like like it hitting puberty. Like I'm like, okay, like he's like growing hair in old weird places, and just kind of like I feel different, but I feel good, and I got
Also
this
seems like a
got this.
drug.
Yeah. Got this beautiful woman now with me. Like I'm still in Europe, and it's just so like it's definitely a lot of emotions and feelings and stuff going on
Yeah.
until he hears the news and he's like, fuck, my dead friend that I wasn't sure if it was real visiting me or not is actually visiting me, and he was right.
He's right. Hey, can we talk about Rick Baker and the decomposing Jack?
Yeah.
I mean, the stages, first off, the fresh kill when he's eating the toast. By the way, that was the other scene that got cut. They actually had a scene of the toast falling out of his torn open throat.
I
And they
forgot
had to,
about that.
and it was like, come on, man. But the scene of Jack Fresh Kill talking to David in the hospital, and he's getting real close, and there's this one piece of skin, latex, that's just as he's talking is just flapping, and you can't take your eyes off of it. It's so realistic, and
Yeah.
it's so fresh. So much so that Griffin Dunn has said in interviews that it really depressed him because he's like, oh man, I got to see what I would be like as a corpse through different stages, and it's really depressing.
Yeah.
Really depressing. So I'm like, oh, I kind of get it. It would not be for me. I would wear that makeup each day, every day.
Each day, every day. Because perché no?
Oh. So, we get the stages all the way up to Skeletal Jack, and they're incredible. This is the work that Rick Baker does is just off the charts. I don't think it's ever been duplicated. I don't think it's ever been topped. I think Rick Baker himself has never really topped it. Look, Rob Bottin in '82 with The Thing is just, it's almost a hold my beer. I would say that those two effects are very different. I would say they are on equal plane. There's no winner, but they are tied.
They're definitely on equal plane, two different stories. So
Yeah.
it's yeah. They're very I would say they're very parallel to each other.
I mean, there's no way that you can. There's no discernible way to take the transformation scene in American Wolf in London and the defibrillator scene in The Thing and say this one is better than this one. They're both masterful. We
Nope.
were so lucky to have these two gems doing practical work at that time, making movies better. People go back to practical. Go
Yeah.
back to practical. Movies come out now, horror movies come out now, and they illustrate I don't words and they use practical effects. It's all you see, and I don't know why I'm pointing, and I'm getting mad. Calm down.
Very aggressive.
It's all you read in articles. The practical work in this movie is amazing. They're using practical work in this. There's a ravenous audience for practical work. Let's get back to it, people.
Because
Think
it's what's remembered. That's what you remember.
it's three-dimensional. It feels real. We like it. You know, I know it's easier on a clickety clack. It doesn't feel real. You know. So
No.
anyway, all right. I'm getting off my soapbox. So now we are just ripping. We're ripping. We're in Piccadilly Square, and we're David's trying to get himself arrested. That goes nowhere because, which I love, because of English sensibility and politeness. You stop that now.
Yeah.
Stop calling the Queen bad names. You know. He rips off into the porn theater with Skeletal Jack, and then we meet all our corpses. What a great scene! You
Yeah.
know,
Which now brings us back to humor. She's like, "Oh yeah, you could just put your gun to the head and pull the trigger." You know,
they're so happy. They're the most adorable couple that even in death, even in the, I'm sorry, even undead, they're just like, you could hang yourself. They're just so bubbly. So they should be happy. They're still together. Good for them.
Yeah,
Um,
we died together. Huzzah.
I just love the and Shannon, I remember this. This was actually in the commercial and scared the living wits out of me. The commercial back in '81 of the scene when Jack is he's gripping the theater chair, and then his werewolf nails pop out of his fingertips.
Yeah.
That was in the commercial,
Oh
and
wow.
little me back in '81 was like, what?
Like, what is happening?
I mean, I was immediately like, can we go see this movie? But it was terrifying.
Yeah.
It was just absolutely terrifying and gorgeous at the same time. Oh boy, horror is the best. So,
Really is.
then we just have what culminates in 4 minutes of out of control slaughter.
Catapults into chaos immediately. He transforms, he starts attacking everybody else that's in there. The cop goes in, and then shines a light on, and now we get like a good,
You just had a thumbs up on your on your screen.
did I?
Yes.
Do I have a ghost with me? That's weird.
I don't know, but you know what? I agree. What you're saying, I'll give you a thumbs up too.
I'm like, is there a
Do
ghost?
this again.
Oh my god! I just saw that. Now I'm getting freaked out.
Shannon's got a ghost. Shannon's got a ghost. I want a ghost. No, I don't want a ghost.
No, you don't.
Totally
That's
kidding.
weird. Do I have a ghost?
Keep it coming. I love it.
Okay, yeah. Well, whatever. Don't interrupt me. Anyway. But then he shines a light on the werewolf, right? And now we see like him eating his victim, and it's just fucking scary. And then he plows through the door, or the whatever the pull down thing that they have, and very first guy head pops off.
I couldn't wait for that guy to get killed. Even at 11 years old, I was like, I can't wait for this prick to get killed. And he bites his head off, and it's just like a,
Yeah.
and then boom. and then you just go into, again, it might not even be 4 minutes long. It's probably like 90 seconds of just crash, crash, kill, 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 crash, 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 kill, kill, kill.
And
John
him
Landis is
walking
the guy.
around, and this is like it was like a wheelbarrow type of a situation, I think,
Yeah,
right? With
just
yeah.
just snapping. But just a fun fact: John Landis is the guy who gets hit by the car and goes through the plate glass window of the bank. And he's
Oh,
got the headband. That's him.
oh, that's
Um,
funny.
and then we get to then David, just like myself, horrible sense of direction, goes down a dead end. And then the
Backs himself into a corner.
special police come. The doc and Alex race to, when they find out there's a commotion in Piccadilly Square. They race there, and this is my favorite moment of the movie. This is my favorite scene when Alex says "I love you," and then there's that tight shot on the Kessler Wolf's face, and the eyes go soft for a moment because whatever is left of David in there resonates with that,
Hmm.
and then he goes immediately back to being a werewolf, and then they
Yep.
riddle him with bullets, and then the movie ends.
Yeah.
No sap,
Nope.
no drawn out anything. Just, yeah, he was a werewolf, then he got killed, and now it's over.
And that's
And
it.
you're like, the first time you see it, you're like, what the fuck?
I'm sure everyone immediately was like, I need to see it again. I need to process what I just saw.
Shannon, when I tell you, not a damn person left their seat until I don't know until that rendition of Blue Moon was over, because they kept waiting for something else.
Oh,
They're like,
wow.
no, 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 no. Movies don't end like this. He doesn't get shot, and then then the music plays, and it immediately goes
Yeah,
to
no. He fell
black.
in love with the nurse. They're supposed to be together forever. No, they're not.
No, they're not.
Landis is like, no, it's a tragic story. No.
It, oh my god! It's so delicious.
Oh,
It's so
it's so
delicious.
amazing. Oh,
Yeah.
kisses all over your transformating face. I said
Oh
transformating. That is not the word, but you know.
no, I love it. Yeah, we're transformating. It's, you know, you get, I don't want to speak for you, but I just get so excited when I see American Werewolf in London, because I just it's so corny. I realize it's so corny, but I'm like, I'm so thankful that we got it, that it happened,
That
and
it exists, yeah.
and it exists, and then, like, okay, maybe younger generations, and it's totally fair, maybe they see it and they didn't grow up with practical, and they're like, oh, this is kind of like dusty and creaky, and I don't get it. Or maybe there's that kid who watches it and is like, this blew my fucking mind apart, and I
Yeah.
want to learn more about practical effects, and I want to learn more about werewolves or horror movies or whatever. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
have at it.
Absolutely. We support it.
Damn, I love this movie so much.
Yeah, this is definitely a great one. It definitely lives way up there, and rightfully so.
All right, I'm just going to ask you two questions, and we'll wrap it up unless you have anything. I need
No,
your
that's it.
favorite kill, and I need your favorite scene.
Okay. Well, I already said my favorite scene. I really like the fever dreams. And like I said, it's just because it's Jacob's Ladder is probably one of my favorite movies, and it goes like I don't know, I just kind of like that whole like mind fuck where like everything blends, because the human psyche is really a scary place.
Tell
and
me
ble-
about it.
and and blending it into it's just to make it so purposeful. It was just used so like it wasn't a dream just to fucking have a dream and just to like, yeah, I'm just gonna place this dream here to scare you. Like, no, like there was a whole purpose to that. um and yeah, that was probably fucking scary as shit as well. um okay, so so that's probably my favorite scene.
What
Favorite
about kill?
kill? I would have to give it to Jack,
Okay,
because
yeah.
it's just I mean, granted, like something's there, you feel the threat, but then when if you're still not ready for it when it comes, you know, and then you
and,
just
and
feel so bad for him.
and it's so real. I understand it's a werewolf, but
Hmm.
it's so real. It's almost like Chrissy Watkins in the cold open in Jaws.
Yeah,
It's so real and visceral, and you can feel like you're scared. Like
yeah,
you don't have time to be like, oh, it's a werewolf. This is fake. It just happens, and you're like, oh my god, oh my god.
yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Ugh.
That's a real one.
What about yours?
My favorite kill. My favorite. My favorite kill is the tube station, even though you don't see the kill.
Right.
You actually don't see any of the kills until you see Jack and you see the police
Sorry.
sergeant.
Sorry, Harley's barking.
Harley's like, you're talking about my peeps.
I know.
I got Harley's like,
She's like,
"There's
I
a
have something to say about that. I have something to say about that.
Harley's totally like, there's a wolf inside me and it's hungry and I need a treat."
Meanwhile, Cinners, if you saw the size of her.
Yeah. Harley is an adorable werewolf.
Yeah, so is Charlie, our little werewolves.
He came in and he was just like, I'm good. And he left.
Aw.
So Sinners, that's it for American Werewolf in London. I think you understand how excited I get about this film. It's an absolute gem for me.
Mm-hmm.
Wait until when we eventually get around to doing Jaws, I won't be able to be on camera because I'm just going to be vibrating. You know?
I did you know? What did you know? What did you know? What did you know?
I tried to keep it together for tonight. I hope I reined it in somewhat. But yeah, I love this film. I love werewolves. I just love it.
Me too.
Okay. I am actually going to spoil our next episode because it's so special. Sinners, we have none other than incredible best-selling author and screenwriter Paul Tremblay will be joining us to discuss 1950s giant ant movie, Them.
Yay! I'm so excited.
Oh, I cannot wait. It's so funny. He posted on Instagram that he was watching it, I believe with his daughter, and I hit him up and I was just like, doing your homework. Nice.
Nice.
So we're gonna have so much fun with that. That will post. That'll post in about 10 days after we record. We'll post that immediately after. And he's just such an incredibly gracious person to come on, and we're really looking forward to it. So I hope you are too.
I can't wait.
All right, take us out of here.
All right, and that's a cut. Werewolf.
You knew that was gonna happen.
I knew. Yeah, I did.